Everyone. Thanks for being here instead of lining up for Trump. My name's Jack Ronaldi. I'm with the Validating Lightning Signer project.
Am I live?
Yep.
It's good to be here. Donald, if you're listening, I challenge you to 18 holes of golf. If you win, if I win, you donate $1 million to Bitcoin open source development. And if you win, you donate $1 million to Bitcoin open source development.
So let's set the stage here. So before we get into VLS, let's talk about some of the challenges in the Lightning Network. So there's some custody challenges in that most Lightning nodes are actually hosted on cloud providers, and most Lightning users are using custodial apps. And as I'm sure you've seen with recent news, holding custody of user funds presents challenges with the authorities, and it just extra risk that you might not want to take as a provider. On the other side, there's people that are running their own nodes and holding custody of their own private keys. But because Lightning is always online, you're essentially holding your keys in a hot wallet, which, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, is quite risky to do. So because if the Lightning node is compromised, you're going to lose your funds to the attacker. So what are some solutions that have been attempted to solve this problem? There's something called a blind signer, where essentially the signer is separated from the node to a separate signing device. But the problem is, like the title implies, it's a blind signer. So whatever the node asks it to sign, it just goes ahead and signs that. And you've actually reduced security because now instead of just the one attack point at the node, now you have two attack points, the blind signer and the node, and you've reduced security. So that's how VLS kind of came into being. The idea was to increase security of Lightning setups by separating a user's private keys from their Lightning node to a separate hardened signing device. And this device would actually validate all of the Lightning Network rules before it signs a transaction, so that if an attacker were to compromise the Lightning node, the VLS signer would just not allow any transactions to be signed that would make you lose money. So there's no other solution that provides this level of security. And just one note, VLS is an open source reference implementation of this software. We are not a consumer-facing or commercial product. We're just building software that I guess other commercial products would then incorporate into their own solutions. So how does VLS work? Essentially, like I said, it separates your Lightning keys into another device that you can harden as much as you like. And the node then substitutes its own internal signing with a call to the VLS signer. And what are some examples of things that VLS might sign? It could be something like a justice transaction or closing a channel to a whitelisted address. And the other cool thing is that VLS allows for flexible policies, such as, I guess, velocity control of how much funds per day, or maybe setting up approval flows such that maybe somebody at, I guess, the front lines of an organization can send out, let's say, $1,000 in a payment, or someone at the C-suite maybe can send out $1 million in payment, so you can kind of customize it that way. Or you can customize that, like, any money that is your node is receiving is auto-approved by VLS, and any money that you're sending out maybe needs some approval from a person with keys. So this is a quick system diagram. So you have your, I guess, Lightning node here in the middle, which has a proxy to the VLS remote signer. And it's asking it to sign transactions. And then the node also, I guess, has some information here on the bottom. So it has a UTXO set and a Bitcoin node that VLS needs in order to track the layer 1 chain state. And there's also a state storage just to make sure that, let's say your node goes down or your VLS remote signer goes down, that you don't lose your Lightning state, because if you do, you're going to lose your funds because you kind of lost where you're at. So what are some use cases for VLS? So it can be something like you or I running VLS on our mobile device. And this actually already exists today. If you guys have heard of Greenlight, they're being used by Breeze, and Breeze is offering the VLS service to their customers, such as Relay. that are running VLS on a mobile device. It could be also small merchants that are using inexpensive consumer devices, such as an ESP32 or an STM32. Those are like the ESP32 is $20, the STM32 is $100. You can just set it up and have it run VLS. Or it could be like a large merchant that's running VLS on an HSM or a hardened server. So like all the way from the cheapest devices all the way to the most expensive, VLS can run on all of them. And the cool thing is, like, on all of those use cases, the end user, whether it's like you or I or a merchant or an organization, like the end user controls their private keys, even if their node is hosted on something like an LSP. So if the LSP is misbehaving or whatever, the user can unilaterally close their channels and recover their Bitcoins without any involvement from the LSP. So you keep control of your keys. It's your keys and it's your coins. So VLS is looking for devs, and I just wanted to show you guys the roadmap of what we're working on upcoming, in case there's some interested devs that want to join and contribute. So we just finished tag team signing, which is a feature that allows multiple signers to control the same node. We're going to be working on disaster recovery in case of disaster, like how do you recover your funds. Up next. And then we have some features planned, such as splicing, zero-conf channels, another version of the state storage, some routing, Bolt 12. We're going to do a heavy focus on enterprise, because we've kind of focused on small signers. Now we're going to focus on big ones. In a minute, Sean's going to talk to you about VLS on secure enclaves, which I'm really excited about. And finally, off in the future, we have multi-sig Lightning, which is not ready. It depends on Taproot, Frost, and Museg 2 to be ready for use by Lightning, which, as I understand it, will be in the future, but not quite yet. So yeah, if you want to take VLS for a spin, all these links are on our website, vls.tech. We have a matrix chat. We have a GitLab repo where you can submit a feature request or take a look around. We also have Core Lightning and LDK sample nodes running VLS that you can, I guess, spin up in Docker if you want to give them a shot. And yeah, and over to Sean for Validity.
So Validity is a new project enabled by a Spiral grant. Thanks, Spiral. It's a pretty ambitious. I mean, my long-term plans are pretty ambitious. I'd like to see, all kinds of things going on with secure enclaves and Bitcoin signing. But in this initial phase, we're going to really focus on VLS because it's a really good match. When you put keys into a secure enclave, you can't have blind signing. You need policies that can restrict when they're used. And VLS does such a nice job of doing that, as Jack told you, that's going to be our initial application. So this is a simple diagram. When you see the node, it's basically the VLS remote signer component itself is inside the trusted execution environment or the secure enclave, and then the other components are outside. There's sort of two ways you can deploy this. One is on a single device where you get the benefits of the T running in the same node, or you can deploy it on a separate device, which can be even more secure because you have greater isolation. There also are some implementations of ARM Trust Zone that include integrated hardware that provides tamper resistance. We're building this on top of something called OpT, the Open Portable Trusted Execution Environment, which is an enclave implementation that's been open source for about 10 years now, and it's a pretty well-supported project, and a lot of commercial implementations are based on this reference implementation. It runs in ARM Trust Zone, and it integrates with the Linux OS for the insecure or the rich execution environment. It's loaded by trusted firmware A, and it has been ported to other architectures like RISC-V, but for this phase of the project, we're going to focus on ARM, which is sort of the dominant processor in mobile and becoming so for desktops and laptops as well. The global platform is an API that OpT uses and that this project will use. It's an international standard organization, and they provide two APIs, the T-Client API and the T-Internal Core API. And by using those APIs, the software should be portable to some commercial cell phone implementations. Obviously, we'd have to partner with those companies and get whitelisted, but that is a long-term goal for the project. Our short-term goals are to put together a prototype, a reference implementation, and a developer kit to do the integration with VLS, to begin talking to device manufacturers. You can come find me if you're making a device. To get some more contributors and to begin collecting community knowledge. Security reviewers, fuzzers, come get us. Well, give me a couple months to get further with the software, but we'll be looking forward to constructive criticism in that area. In terms of hardware, what we'd like to see, like the holy grail, is hardware that's open source, has no blobs or large binaries in either the bootloader or the device drivers, et cetera, that you can develop without signing a non-disclosure agreement, that allows the hardware that you deploy to be self-sovereign, meaning you control the bootloader, and to be affordable and widely available. We're going to have to make some compromises on this. The current prototype that we're doing, I believe there's one blob in the bootloader, but we want to begin the process of driving things more towards an open source ecosystem. So the platforms that we're supporting in this initial phase are QEMU, which is a software emulator, which allows us to develop on an x86 PC or an ARM. I use an ARM Mac. And we're using this Radsha Rock 4 single board computer, which has a Rock chip 3399, which has a full trust zone implementation and support for secure boot. It's you can get them for as little as like $60, I think. This is a diagram of the architecture. I'm going to go through this really quick, but there's a client app that runs in the Linux world. That would be the validating lightning signer component that talks via serial or TCP/IP to the node, or maybe even a Unix socket. And then it talks to the global platform client API, goes down through the kernel, through the firmware, into the enclave, and then the signing occurs up here. And then the sign messages will come back out. You can find the project on GitHub. It'll eventually have its own domain, but for now it's just under my account. And we have a matrix chat room inside of the. It doesn't say it, but it's part of the VLS project. The VLS, what's it called?
Yeah, the VLS group.
VLS group.
So yeah, like I mentioned, we're looking for devs. So if you're interested in helping open source, come talk to us after the presentation. And yeah, thank you very much for checking us out. We have some links down here if you wanna learn more. Yeah, thanks everyone for the attention.